We can see Chrisman zones and they're also on cost evaluation.
Sir, Exhibit 282 that we've been looking at, that's the same as exhibit number 382 that we previously talked about, right? Earlier today, right?
As the same as? It doesn't look the same.
Well, it does have an inquiry there at 12/21/30. See that?
Yes, sir.
And it does have.
It's not yet been admitted if you want to offer it.
I thought we locked the conversation. 282, sir. Yeah. /21. You see that?
Yes.
That's where you make your inquiry, right? Your
Yes, sir.
121A, right?
Yes, sir.
It does tell you the person's name is Rodriguez, first name is Daniel, right?
Yes.
Date of birth,
Yes.
sex and state, it says CAD, Y, and then has some other indication, doesn't it?
Yes.
And then references you, 421A, right?
Yes.
You said that you received all this information on this cat, or from this person, about weapons. Do you remember saying that?
About the drug paraphernalia, the dangerous drugs, and the weapons violation, yes.
Do you remember telling us that?
That's one of the responses, yes.
Right. It's not in 282, is it? Take a look at it.
I don't see that it is.
Okay.
No. But
And,
this is also not my unit history.
I asked you yes or no if you saw it there. Did you see it there?
I don't know.
You want it? If I may have it.
I'm sorry.
You also wanted to say that wasn't your history, right?
Well, it's not going to show the responses. The unit history, the premise history, those things aren't going to show the responses. It's just going to show that a subject was run. It's not going to show the responses that are received.
Well, take a look at this 282. You see the entry on December, I'm sorry, 1208 on October 5th. You see that? You see that response?
1208, October 5th, yes.
And you see there's some communication there from the dispatcher to this CAD unit, isn't there? Isn't this, sir, isn't this information going out from whatever center you guys communicate with out to the police officer, right? Isn't that there?
Yes.
And it went out to your police car, right?
Yes.
Nobody called you, right?
What do you mean, nobody called me?
With regard to this information, nobody called you. It went out, right?
That information was sent to my MDT from dispatch, yes.
Right, it did. So that there is communication from the dispatch to you, right?
Yes, sir.
And your inquiry was to dispatch, wasn't it?
No.
It wasn't?
No, sir.
Isn't that what it says here?
No, it's not, the inquiry is not to dispatch. It's the query is just a query through the state and local agencies. Basically, it's through. I think it's a DPS query that it goes through, but the query doesn't go through dispatch.
Sir, the way it works is you type it into your computer. You typed into your computer this inquiry here, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And then it was transmitted, right?
Yes.
And in this record, we also have an indication that they are able to transmit back to you, right?
The responses, you get the responses back automatically from the query on your computer.
Sir, I'm just asking you. 1208, letters, numbers go out to your computer, right?
Yes.
Then, on 1221, at 1221, letters, numbers go out from your computer down to somebody else, right?
Yes.
There is no response here anywhere in this whole thing about this individual.
The unit history doesn't show the responses.
Yes or no?
No.
Objection, he's not being allowed to finish his answer, Judge. He can go ahead and answer your question.
The unit history does not show all of the responses that you get back from PACE or NCIC or ACIC. That stuff doesn't show up on the unit history. When you pull that up on the CAD system, you would have to query that name yourself to get that printout.
My question is that, not that. Exhibit 282 doesn't contain it, does it?
No, sir, it does not.
And at the start of this front page, it tells us what these records are for, doesn't it?
I didn't read it, but I believe that's what the front page was.
Sir, when you went back initially, before you went to the trailer the first time, one of the other questions that you had for Ms. Fernandez was, after, according to you, you didn't say anything about her language, but you did ask about the language of her son that may have been inside the trailer, right?
I didn't say I did ask it. I don't know that I said anything. If anything, it is a possibility.
So there's a possibility that you said something to the effect of, does he speak English?
It's a possibility, yes.
And was the question as to whether or not he spoke English because of his surname? Is that what it was?
I don't know. Again, I said it's a possibility. I don't recall asking that question. But
She spoke
in South Phoenix, it's not an uncommon question. It's not uncommon to come across people that don't speak English.
She spoke English, right?
Yes, sir.
And according to you, you were able to understand her, right?
Yes, sir.
There was a genuine indication that you couldn't understand her at all, right?
No, there wasn't.
And in fact, you heard the recording, right? That's how she speaks, right?
Yes.
The 911 call was pretty clear, wasn't it?
Let's see. Clear enough, I guess, yes.
You had difficulty understanding the 911 call?
Some portions.
So even in light of that, just because you're in South Phoenix, so it's a geographical thing, that's why you asked whether or not an individual by the name of Daniel Rodriguez spoke Spanish, right?
No, I never said it was a geographical thing. I said it's not uncommon in South Phoenix to come across people that don't speak English.
Even though their mother speaks English, right?
Never said I asked the question. I said it was a possibility.
It's a possibility. So after you go there and you speak, or you try to get into the trailer, you're unsuccessful, right? Nobody answers, right?
I'm sorry, repeat the question, please.
When you go to the trailer for the first time, you knock on the door, right?
Yes.
You don't knock softly, you knock loudly, right?
I knocked. I don't recall if I banged or I just knocked, normal knock.
Well, with regard to the Phoenix Police Department and their officers, one of the things that they have to do is give notice to the person inside that you're at the door, right?
Yes, sir.
And if you knock softly, they're not going to hear you sometimes, right?
Correct.
So you need to knock loud enough so the person that's in there will be able to hear you, right?
Yes.
And so in this case, that's what you did, right?
Again, I don't specifically recall how hard I knocked.
Loud enough at least that you, as is your custom, to make sure that they understand, or they can hear you inside, right?
Yes, sir.
And nobody came to the door, right?
No.
You claim that, not claim, did you identify yourself as a Phoenix Police Department officer when you were knocking the first time?
Yes, sir.
And nobody came to the door, right?
No.
You then left. How long were you at the door before you and Officer Virgilio left?
I don't know.
You left after knocking, right?
Yeah, I knocked a couple times.
And he also knocked, correct?
I don't know.
Then you went back, and you went back to trailer number 50, right?
Yes,
When you went back to trailer number 50, did you go back inside, or did you speak to them outside?
outside. We were at the door. They were inside.
So were they at the breach of the doorway?
Don't recall specifically.
Were you inside or outside of the trailer?
I was outside.
So did any part of you go up inside the trailer?
No, I don't recall going inside the trailer the second time.
No, I mean, did your hand even go inside the trailer?
No, I said I don't recall going inside the trailer the second time I spoke to him.
How about, they were inside the trailer, though, right?
Yes, sir.
And did any part of their body come out of the trailer?
I don't know.
It's fair to say you were at the breach of the doorway, right?
I was up on the porch at the doorway.
And you were close enough so you could hear them, right?
Yes.
Nobody was screaming, right?
No.
And when you were standing there at the front of that trailer, the other trailer was about, what, 30 feet away, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
They're pretty close, right?
Again, I have no idea how far apart the two of them are.
You didn't hear anything from the other trailer, did you?
No, I did not.
You didn't hear any barking, right?
No.
You didn't hear any loud noises, right?
No.
And when you spoke to them about some point about whether or not might be any weapons, right?
Yes.
So there wasn't, right?
She said she didn't have any. She didn't know if he did.
But you did have this printout from exhibit number 282 that talks about that issue, though, right? It doesn't say anything about weapons, does it?
It says no known weapons, NKW. That's what that
Right.
stands for. No known weapons.
So as you stand there are no known weapons when you go back a second time, right?
No. No known weapons.
Right. And how long were you talking to the two of them this time?
That was pretty brief.
Any problem understanding Ms. Fernandez when she said to you, "It's okay, I give you permission to go into my trailer"? Any problem understanding her English then?
No, sir.
You were able, it was clear as day for that, for the consent. But then you and Officer Virgilio decided to go back to the trailer, right?
Yes.
At that point, while you were standing there, you had not seen any crime that had been committed, right?
No, only the allegation.
Right, and that's why you were there, to investigate, right?
Yes, sir.
And at that point, when you're there, there's no indication that the individual inside is even the one that caused any of these problems, whatever problems may have precipitated the call, right?
At what point? I'm sorry.
First, you don't know if there's anybody in the trailer, right?
No, we only know what she's told us,
Right.
that he was in that group.
So it could be that there's nobody in the trailer, right?
Could be.
It could be that she's making it up, right?
Could be.
So the person inside the trailer, as it stands at that point, there's no reason to believe, whether or not you have your cat printout that says drugs or whatever, that he has done anything, right?
No, I didn't have that CAD printout.
Well, there's no reason to believe that this individual that's inside the trailer has done anything, right?
Well, we have the allegation from the mom. She did say he was the only one there. She said he was there.
And these are just allegations, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's why you're there to investigate, right?
Yes, sir.
Because if the person just made the allegations and automatically you went and arrested people, there would be problems, right?
Yes, sir.
It turns out that a lot of times people say things and it turns out that what they're telling you may not be as true as it could be, right?
Yes.
So in this case, when you then go to the door a second time, you are not going to arrest this individual. You don't have any reason to arrest this individual, do you?
At that point, no, other than the allegations.
Right. You don't know if in fact he's put a hole in the wall, do you?
No.
You don't know if in fact he's even screamed at her, right?
No.
You don't know anything about this individual other than what this cat printout and something else that you claim that you saw, right? That's what you know, right?
Yes.
And in fact, you don't even know that he's the owner of the trailer, right?
No, I did not.
In fact, she told you she owned the trailer, right?
I don't think she ever said that it was her trailer.
So then you begin to walk over to this trailer for the second time, right? Correct? After that conversation, right?
After speaking with her the second time, we went back to the trailer, yes.
And you are in front, right? No doubt about it, right?
I ended up at the door.
No, as you're walking in front of Officer Vigil, do you remember on direct examination saying that you walked, you didn't even see where Officer Vigil was? Do you remember saying that?
Yes, I think I said that I didn't remember him answering the phone. I didn't remember seeing him answer the phone. And I didn't recall hearing the phone.
So, you're walking, he's walking behind you, right?
At the point that I got to the door, yes, he was somewhere behind me.
He was close behind you, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Well, isn't it a little bit problematic for you if you're really going to go and investigate this and you have to use the term cover and what was the other thing?
Contact cover.
If you're the contact person, isn't it kind of your responsibility to a certain extent to find out where your cover is?
I didn't notice he wasn't behind me.
And that's because you were so eager to get at him, right?
No.
Well, you were not hurried, weren't you?
No, why?
Well, then why did you wait for him?
Because I didn't know that he wasn't behind me.
And isn't that something you should know, though, before you go to a domestic violence call?
Don't understand. I'm sorry.
Well, didn't you tell us that domestic violence call have a tendency to be more dangerous?
Yes.
Your awareness is heightened, right?
Yes.
And you have to be more careful, right?
Yes.
In this case, what you did is you just took off, and you don't even know if the guy that's supposed to be covering you is even there, right?
I didn't just take off. I walked to the door. I walked from point A to point B.
And
I
it's
never
not-
noticed him fall behind. I never noticed anything. I
You
just
weren't-
knocked at the door.
You weren't noticing anything because you had that tunnel vision of the door, right? That's what you were focused on.
No.
Well, you weren't sensing whether or not anybody was behind you, right?
No, I was not.
You were just walking, whether he was behind you or not, you didn't know, right?
I didn't know.
And then you got to the door, right?
Yes.
And when you get to the door, sir, there's a porch that leads up, right? This is how you walk. As if I were walking from here down to the front door, right?
Yes.
And as you walk in the porch, you don't notice if he's behind you or not, right?
No.
You're not paying attention to him, right?
No.
You're focused on the front door, right?
I'm not focused on the front door. I'm just walking to the front door. I'm not looking behind me.
You're not paying attention to your surroundings, is what you're telling us, right?
Apparently not. If I'm not looking behind me, I'm paying attention. I'm walking up to knock on the door.
But your surroundings are what's behind you, to your left, your right, and your front, right?
Yes.
And your senses are heightened for this type of call, right?
Yes.
They're not so heightened that you don't even know where the individual that's supposed to be with you is, right?
No, the individual that was supposed to be with me should have been with me.
So it's his fault. If anything would have happened to you, it's his fault because he wasn't close enough to you. Because he wasn't watching close enough, right? That's what you're saying. It's his fault.
Those are your words.
Pardon?
Those are your words.
I understand those are my words, but you're saying that it's his fault. That's what you said, though, right?
His fault that I didn't look behind me?
No, it's his fault that he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do according to you, right?
Well, he shouldn't have been answering the phone, that's for sure.
I thought you said you didn't know if he was answering the phone or not.
We know at this point because he's already testified that he did answer the phone.
But you didn't know at that point on that day, right?
No, I did not.
And the reason you didn't know that he answered the telephone, sir, was that you were so far out in front of him that you couldn't even hear him speak, right?
No, again, I don't know where he was.
Well, sir, you didn't hear his voice answer the telephone, right?
I did not.
And you were just walking to the trailer, right?
I was just walking.
Right. Which implies that he was some distance away from you so that you were unable, so that the voice did not travel from his mouth to your ear, right?
I did not hear him answer the phone.
Was it because you weren't paying attention to him?
I don't know. I didn't look behind me. I wasn't paying attention to where he was. I just assumed that he's following with me, that he's walking with me.
If you don't hear him walking, you don't hear him answering the phone, right?
No, sir, I did not.
And so as you sit here today, you can't tell us how far away he was behind you.
No, I cannot.
He could have been pretty close, right?
Could have been.
Because you could have been talking softly, right?
Yes.
You don't know how long he spoke on that telephone, do you?
No, sir, I don't.
Because you didn't hear him, right?
No, I did not.
It did, from the time that you walked, or you got to the patio, and you walked to the front door, how much time passed in terms of seconds? It was seconds, right? It wasn't minutes, right?
It wasn't minutes, no.
It was seconds, right?
Yes.
Whatever it takes for however you were walking to walk from this direction over to the door, right? That's
Yes.
about how long it took you, right?
Yes.
And then you began to knock on the door, right?
Yes, sir.
Was he with you when you knocked on the door or not?
I didn't see him.
Even at the door, when you're knocking at the door, you didn't see him?
No, sir.
Is it because you're so focused on the door that you're not paying attention? Is that what's going on?
No, I'm just... No. I don't know why I didn't see him. I just didn't notice him.
It could be that he is standing right next to you, right?
It could be.
You just weren't paying attention to him, right?
No.
It is fair to say that you were focused on that individual that was inside, right?
No, because I didn't...
You were focused on something inside, right?
Just knocking on the door.
And you were so focused on it that you didn't think to call for a 906, right? At that point, right?
When I was knocking on the door?
Right?
No, sir.
At any time throughout this whole encounter, you didn't think of calling for any backup, right?
Well, I don't know whether I thought about it or not. I was pretty overwhelmed with the situation once I was actually inside the trailer and everything was happening. Again, the adrenaline, the stress of all of that kind of take over. And
What takes more time? To push a button on the radio that you currently have here, or continue to deal with the situation? It wouldn't have taken you anything other than a movement of the hand to push that button that says I'm in trouble, right?
it would take a movement of the hand to push that button.
And you had an opportunity to do that if you felt so alone in your life, right?
No, I was pretty engaged in the situation, and I had two threats. I had the dog and I had the suspect.
And you at no point at any time whatsoever to make a movement of the hand to go to your radio. Which side was it on? Your right side or your left side?
My lapel mic was on my left side.
So you get to the door, you don't know where Officer Virgil is, right?
No.
And you start knocking on the door, right?
Yes.
Nobody answers, right?
No.
And then because you believe this individual has given you permission, you start opening the door, right?
Yes.
When you go to open the door, do you know this Officer Virgil?
No.
So you're focused on the door now, right?
I'm facing the door.
And you decide you're focused on this guy here. You're going to go in there and take care of the situation, right?
No, I just opened the door and announced Phoenix Police, stand come on out.
Because you wanted to take care of the situation here, right?
Because I have to take care of the situation.
I understand you have to, but you didn't have to open the door at that point. You could have waited, right?
For what?
For whatever the investigative case called for. You didn't have to go in there, did you? It doesn't say that you have to walk into every building, especially if you think there are weapons there, right?
Okay. That is what the case called for. She gave permission to enter. She made allegations against the suspect. The suspect was inside. We're required to investigate. She gave us the authority to enter the trailer. Now it's our job to go in. We've tried to contact him through the door without going inside.
You didn't even know the suspect was inside, did you, at that point?
No, I did not.
Right? And you decided to walk on in and announce yourself as the Phoenix Police Department, the Phoenix Police Department, right?
Yes, sir.
When you walk in, you don't know where Officer Virgil is again, right?
When I walked in,
Right.
the suspect was already at the door. I never entered the trailer until he actually came out. And at that point, then my focus, yes, is on the suspect.
At that point, but before that, you don't know where Officer Virgil is, right?
No, sir.
So you can't be critical about him doing or not doing his job because you don't, up to that point, because you don't know what he's doing before that, do you?
No.
You don't know if he has a victim's rights pamphlet with him, right?
He did when he was behind his patrol Tahoe. At that point, I don't know if he did or not.
And you don't know if he has his gun out right behind you, right?
No, I do not.
You don't know if he's on the telephone, right?
No, I do not.
All you know is you're going to open that door, right?
Yes.
And so you open this door, and initially what you told us was that the dogs came towards you, right?
Yes, sir.
And dogs came at you, they didn't scare you enough to close the door. Watch them, right?
I pulled the door closed, probably about that far.
And you continue to announce yourself, right?
Yes.
And the individual that came from the back came after the dogs, right?
Yes.
And when the dogs saw him, for example, the one that you killed, went back to him and started wagging her tail, or his tail, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it was a male or a female. It was the tan pit bull that went back to him all the way out.
And he went back to him and he was wagging his tail, right?
Yes, sir.
You would agree that those are not indications of a dog that is aggressive, right?
No, those are not.
And this individual that came up, and you said that he was upset with you, right?
Yes, sir.
And he was upset with you because you were in there, right?
No, he was upset and yelling that we needed to get the fuck out of his trailer. However, we were not in there at that point.
But he's telling you, he's talking about a warrant, and he's swearing at you, right?
Yes, sir.
And as part of that, you continued to go on inside the trailer, right?
When he tried to close the door, yes, I did.
And you pushed the door open, right?
Yes, I did.
And according to you, you didn't swear at him at all, right?
I never said that I didn't swear to him.
Oh, so you did swear at him, right?
I never said I did. I never said I didn't.
Well, you did swear at him then, didn't you?
It's very possible, yes.
When you say it's very possible, it's like you have an issue remembering. Are you telling me you can't remember whether or not you cursed at him or not?
No, I don't recall whether or not I did. It's very possible.
And it's very possible that you told him, I don't need a fucking warrant, and you stuck the gun to the side of his forehead, right?
I never said that.
You never used the word fuck.
I never said that, and I never stuck the gun to the side of his forehead.
You never used the word fuck.
I never said that I don't need a fucking search warrant, and I never stuck the gun to the side of his head.
Did you use the word fuck?
I don't recall. It's very possible.
Judges, 431.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take the afternoon meeting recess at this time. Please remember the admonition, keep it open, don't discuss the case, and comment about the case, we're encouraging about the case, stay healthy. We will see you tomorrow at 10:30.